2025, what a very interesting year. A lot of big events, honestly. We didn't get any new media from MLP, not as much as I know. I think G5 ended this year. Was that only this year? That's crazy. It felt like a while ago at this point. But yeah, I mean, nothing really to update in my life usually. Last year was a big year with like big life changes, but in terms of that, things were kind of the same outside of the fandom this year. But no, we're here to talk about the recap the year mostly in 2025 with things that happened. You know, and I mean like things that happened like with me personally, kind of my recap and thoughts. This isn't meant to be a boast or anything, just, and I do this every year like unscripted. So yeah, let's get into it. Started with Something Else Remix, which is a song by Nekosnicker and namiiimaa. I really like the song, and it's oh wow, hold on, and it's really good. Whenever I do remixes, I like doing a spin on things, and I do like how that one turned out. But then in February we had Harmonycon, yay! Where this time I teamed up with namiiimaa and we did a Starcrush. It was kind of a little duo name we came up with together, and we performed there. People seem to like it. I was surprised at the time of how late we were into the night. We were the penultimate act, and I was like, wow, I've never been this late in the lineup before. It was crazy. But I'm glad a lot of people showed up to it. We had to submit a song for the Harmonycon CD. That's like a tradition thing for Harmonycon musicians. So we made a new song called Who We Are, which was released later in the year. But yeah, it was really funky. It took inspiration from some of 2024 pop. And we both wrote lyrics to it, and I think we had a lot of fun. And I love how creative Harmonycon gets with their stage setups. Like this year was so fun. They added like a balcony thing, so it was kind of like an extra layer to the stage, and it worked so well. It was so fun to use, and I hope they like do stuff more like that in the future. And of course, yes, namiiimaa was very fun to work with. I hope we get to do more stuff together because we both just love fooling around and like doing and memeing and stuff. Also in February was my birthday, so I uploaded the Over Again music video because actually that marked the 5-year anniversary. Can you believe it's been 5 years of my first album, being vocal about it? And that was the bonus track on it that I just didn't upload because I was like, oh, you know, if people want to download the album, they'll find it there. But I think it was time like to finally give it a YouTube release. And it is done a lot better on YouTube than I thought it would. A lot of people really liked it, and I was like, that's crazy. This is a song I made like 5 years ago. But no, yeah, I guess there's not many songs out there of the two cheerleaders. People really liked it and wanted me to perform it. I figured out ways how with mashups and such, but that makes everything. Oh damn it! That marks everything from the being vocal about albums finally on YouTube. So that is like feels like a completion in a way. But then March and April, it kind of got a little busy. I was on a Broniest Reacts video for their April Fool's Wild Mains video. I was honored to be invited onto that. Thank you to Mr. Someone, or Maynard, as well as everyone else working on it that wanted me on. And no, yeah, I had fun with it. If you go watch it, I have like little skits in there, little bits. And also just, you know, had my genuine reaction to it, which was interesting. I really like that everyone contributed to it, and yeah, it was really fun. I always wanted to be part of those like react series that would be showing up on YouTube way back. But yeah, I'm glad I could participate in one at least. But now it's time to talk about probably the craziest thing of this year. So after Harmonycon, it was kind of, okay, yeah, bear with me, this might be not a long story, but, you know, if you know what's coming, you know it's coming. But earlier this year, after Harmonycon especially, it was kind of building up of like, you know, it is the final Babscon this year. So, especially after Harmonycon, well, I was accepted to perform with namiiimaa as part of Starcrush again. Because it was a great way to kind of fit us both into the lineup. Because the lineup, you know, being the last year, it was going to be filled with just, you know, B2Bs, their combined acts to fit as many people as they could in. And this lineup was going to be big because, you know, we had Mike the Microphone, we had Ponyphonic, which is, you know, a legend. We're gonna have Silvahound, Garnica, Chi-Chi, all like old names. And somehow I was surprised by this. They somehow got Violet Pony. That is insane. The power of Pinkaboo, I guess. And you know, I did not see their set at BronyCon 2019. I was busy with my friends at that time. But I was like, you know, I didn't know if I would ever see Violet perform live again. But it was gonna be big. Like holy crap! The final Babscon of Violet Pony is gonna perform again, which, you know, is a huge deal. But then there was like trouble on the staffing side throughout leading up to it. It was kind of weird because at a point we were like, you know, if they end up firing Pinkaboo for like just unjust reasons or whatever, we were making the joke like, oh, we'll just walk it and stuff. And it's like, and I was like joking about it also because I was like, you know, there's no way that they would fire their music lead, you know, this late into the game. Like, what would they do at that point? And then I remember where I was in the kitchen of my apartment when I got the news that our music lead Pinkaboo for that con was fired. And I can't remember the exact date for sure. I have it down somewhere. I'll put it on screen probably. But at that was like a night to remember because everything started just like spread really fast. Like it was going around like, oh, like did you hear they fired Pinkaboo and stuff? So then the people put an announcement in the musician server of like, hey, you know, Pinkaboo's been fired, but we're gonna still carry on with like, you know, leading and stuff. But, you know, obviously that sparked outrage from the musicians because Pinkaboo was like kind of a reason a lot of the old ones came back because they trusted her, they knew her, and you know that's what good connections give you. But, you know, her being fired kind of started causing uproar in the server, and people were like really, you know, upset. What we saw then is like, we're like, oh, like crap, there's like a call starting to go on, and that's when you see like if you saw on like Twitter or, you know, X, whatever, like the there's a screenshot that like, I like how people like treated like, holy crap, look at all these names and stuff. It's just a big call of just so many musicians, like new and old, like all like in the call. And that night it was just like, you know, a lot of outrage of like, how could they do this and stuff. And you know, that kind of spread quickly on social media. Because musicians were like, you know, talking about it, including Violet, who, you know, kind of got the word out a lot as well. And then that turned into Ponytown, where Ponytown had like, there were people like organizing a little protest thing. It was kind of funny at first, but like, you know, it started out small, but then that grew huge, and there was just a bunch of people like protesting and fighting for Pinkaboo then, and it was just like a thing that spread throughout the fandom that single night, which was like crazy. So the plan was, what if, you know, Neighhem, which started out in like 2019 after BronyCon, it was mostly just like kind of metal and rock musicians, but then there was a second one as well after a Ciderfest one year. But now it was like, okay, what if we Neighhem this, and you know, all these musicians, because I didn't mention this, because every single musician dropped out of the lineup in the stand with Pinkaboo, which, you know, has never happened before as far as I'm aware. That's another reason the whole thing spread. You know, people going to Babscon were kind of shocked now. It's like, what just happened? The whole lineup just is gone now for music. So most of the musicians like came back to want to do Neighhem. It was a stressful 3 weeks because, you know, they had to find a venue, get everything around. But luckily a lot of like artists, musicians, and just staff people in general like offered to help out. It was a great show of teamwork then. So the time comes, it was building up to it. You know, it's Babscon weekend. So even though I didn't perform at Babscon, they got like other people, like Mystery Skulls and people. I at least got to host my top 20 Brony songs of 2024 list panel, like I did at the Babscon the previous year. So I'm glad I still got to like at least do my panel there, because I do like doing that tradition, showing people Brony music. I did eventually upload a video of it. But no, yeah, it was a fun thing to do. It got a lot more people than the previous year, which I'm glad for. But then that was the only thing I had that weekend. I just chilled the rest of the weekend. It was a little boring at times, but you know, there was the party suite, had fun drinks with the musicians. Got to meet so many people. And then came the day of Neighhem. Now, I will mention quickly, I did kind of, if you noticed, I did burn out on doing the vlogs. I go to so many cons now that it's hard to keep up. So sorry about that for sure. I just, it's creativity wise. It's like, it was starting to get burned out doing it. But, Neighhem, the Pinkaboo's Neighhem that night was so special that I had to make a vlog about it because it was just like a once in a lifetime experience. I'm sorry to those that couldn't make it or go. I will be, talking about it here, but it was crazy. If you want to, I talk about it a lot more in depth, in that vlog video, so go check that out. But no, yeah, it's like from that day, the Sunday, like waking up, going there the whole day, it was like the audience, I don't know how many people expected the audience to get as big as it did. As I got to perform, Starcrush with namiiimaa, and it was like great. We had a few, we only had a limited time, so I had time for 3 songs, so I had to go with some of the big ones, like Push Your Buttons, Weight of the World, and the Colorful Musician remix to end it off for my part. The audience was really into it, and there were just so many iconic moments that night, and especially also backstage, just kind of hanging with musicians, getting to meet so many people for the first time. Fuzogs was there. That was crazy to meet him. I wasn't expecting him to go at first. Garnica, Mike the Microphone, talking to Chi-Chi. Last time I talked to Chi-Chi was in Harmonycon 2020. Also talking to Ponyphonic was really crazy. It's just, it was just so many just names and people. And of course, also I'm going to mention again, meeting Violet as well was something I never thought I would do. And they were really nice. They were really chill. I'm glad they enjoyed their time. And even getting do experiences being on the stage for their end of Violet's set as everyone's dancing. Also, the end of Odyssey's set because, it's Discord. It's a thing that just happens now at the end of concerts. And I mean, yeah, it's just honestly, just a night to remember. But following that, it was kind of interesting because it's it had not a weird impact, but in terms of people and names and stuff, it's just weird to point out. It's it kind of in turn, because Rhymeflow was one of the people that came back as well for the Babscon / Neighhem thing, and they convinced Feather, the vocalist from way back, to come back into the fandom as well. It wasn't just him, Forever Free Brownie and Violet and others as well helped out. But Feather returning was not on my bingo card for 2025. Yeah, it's just this renaissance of just all these old names kind of coming back and stuff. It was really great to see. But then it was mostly decompressing because May through July was pretty quiet because we didn't have Winnie City, so we couldn't really fill that gap. Next event really wasn't until Trotcon, which I did with Sound Bandit. Yeah, it's always fun doing a set with Sound Bandit because we kind of just mostly fool around. We party. It's just it's a laid back kind of there's not a lot of pressure with those sets really. It's just a lot of fun. And yeah, the stage setup was weird because it was in the lobby of the hotel. It was there wasn't drape or anything. I don't know how to describe it too much, but I mean, I had a fun time of just it was just a chill weekend with friends. I'm not taking much seriously. There's panels I like to see Mono Music and Lux Top 100 panel. Okay, but then August came around. One thing I was working on for a while during the summer was this song called Bridle Shower with Voltraz, who's a good rapper, by the way. They're multi-talented. And yeah, I kind of it was weird because I was getting into the DJ Mustard or the early 2010s, kind of vibe with music. And I wanted to try that out with samples and no instruments. And, I kind of with the vibe, I was okay, let's make this a little, not explicit, a little suggestive because, that's kind of, I want to try something like that. So we made that song and, I'm glad I did I'm getting a lot of good reception and views. It was honestly a lot, most fun I had making a song in a while. It was just so fun to make and listen to. But then came Everfree Northwest, where I performed a set with Luck Rock. He approached me with the idea, and it was kind of interesting because we are like very like different genres. So it's like, how is this going to work out? But we managed to make it work out. We kind of did like a little adventure thing with it. The visuals is kind of like a little RPG or like, what is it called? Visual novel kind of. We had a lot of like funny moments. We did a lot of covers, our own songs. We did mashups of our songs. And I'm glad like people like that as well. You see that this year, all of my set, I didn't have a solo set this year. All of my sets this year were with other people. So it's like, it was kind of fun, like kind of like all these different people. You kind of like, okay, how can we like make this work? What do we do here? It's kind of like a fun, not a bad challenge, but a fun challenge of, what creative things can we do? And yeah, I'm glad that went well as well. But also at Everfree, I submitted my I'm With You PMV, a song by Twilight Wonder. And the song, like, I was like, I need to combine Twilight with G5 because that's like kind of the vibe of the song here. And I wanted to try something new with that, like the green screen effect, the color key, with Twilight being in the G5 world. So I'm glad I could make that work. And it won Best Story, so I'm glad. I don't know if I was going to win something after winning Best in Show the previous year with Cupid PMB. But yeah, I'm glad it still won something. And a lot of the PMVs were really fun that year as well. And I got some new music out of it as well, which is fun with the PMV contest. I like learn new music I get to try out. But yeah, during the fall then, I didn't upload a whole lot. I apologize for that. The reason is because I am working on a big project to hopefully be out next year. And also Ciderfest rolled around, Ponyville Ciderfest. I wasn't accepted, but I did staff a little bit with social media, and it was kind of funny because I wasn't originally on any panels either. So I got to kind of just chill out most of the con, which was a nice change of pace. I had a lot of fun just doing my own thing, or like hanging with people with no pressure. I did end up getting invited onto the panel, if you get a question wrong, a panelist leaves, where I ended up being the last panelist on there. So of course, by the cursed thing of being the first timer there, of course I was the last one. Happened with Bankwell before. But yeah, and also aside from that, yeah, it's just like, got my OC drawn as well at the Gray Ponies versus Blue Ponies thing, the panel. So that was fun. Yeah, it was kind of just a chill vibe there. It was fun getting to see Ponies the Anthology 8, which I didn't think they would ever make an 8, but, here we are. Anything can happen in 2025. But honestly, then December, crazy packed month, because, I started out actually, like, uploading Head Through the Wall, which, like over again, Head Through the Wall is the final song now from my Troublemaker album to not be uploaded yet. So now every song from that album is also uploaded. It was a fun video as well. I'm glad like the artist made what I was kind of picturing for it with my OC. Even though it is a personal song in a way, I'm glad it's uploaded now. And yeah, so like both of my albums, everything is uploaded now. So we can move on to the next big thing. But then, yeah, I actually wasn't intending on it first, but actually went to a Hearth Swimming Club, which was a kind of a one-time con in Ithaca, New York at the beginning of December. It was about like 200 people there. So we knew it was going to be small going in, but it was kind of interesting. They wanted an acoustic vibe. So once again, why don't I try out, something different for my sets? I just realized, I guess technically in a way that was a solo set. Thrack, Luck, and DB Pony as well. We were the other musicians. Kissy as well helped out. They helped me out, but I mean, I'll call it a solo set in a way. It was my things. No, yeah, it was a really fun vibe. Ithaca is a nice town, especially around the holidays. There was a lot of like festivities and shops. It was just a very nice place. There was like a morning banquet there. That was really yummy. And yeah, I also I'm glad people bought my CDs there as well, because I sold merch there, and a lot of people seem to like it or want it. So thank you all for the support. It really surprised me of how much support there was. Maybe they'll do it again in the future. We'll see. But then ending out the year was something that it's like, where do I even start? I made it onto Ponies at Dawn. They announced their album Fusion like a bit ago. And the idea was to be all collabs, like no solo songs this time. It has to be at least be like 2 people for the song. I had the idea for a while for the song for my upcoming project, where kind of like a dark city setting, like a Gotham thing, as someone described. And Spin Scissor has a great voice on it. Vinyl Darar is great at production as well. So I had both of them on, and we created a song called Bite the City. I wrote all the lyrics on it. Spin did like the vocal, the pre-chorus and chorus, but also the vocal production on it. And Vinyl Darar included production as well, especially at the instrumental bridge, because I wanted to go for like the Melbourne bounce, or like just the bounce feel. But then it kind of also like turned into with more and more horns and big brass, because it's, it's a city vibe, that kind of thing. And I'm glad people really liked it. And I remember where I was when I saw, the track list thing, and I saw my name on there. And anyone that knows me, it's like I've been submitting to the albums since I kind of almost started music in 2019 with Eternal. It's just, I don't know. I went through a lot of inner turmoil and just self-esteem and stuff throughout that time. It just had like, it was such a like reachable goal. I knew that it's like, it felt just so devastating whenever not being accepted. And obviously this isn't to discourage people from doing it, because like with patience and stuff, you can be able to do it. Heck, like I said, for me, it took me 6 years, but seeing that I made it there, it was like, meant the world to me. It felt like just a big accomplishment that I've tried so long for. It's like very sentimental. Yeah, and especially also being track 18, that's a nice position. I'm very appreciative of that. And so yeah, the PAT event, the Ponies at Dawn event, it was just like being up there with everyone else. I feel like I just fit in, I feel like good about myself. And this isn't meant to be like an egotistical way, just like, I just feel proud of myself, especially like doing like a lot of the production on like the original as well. Not just undersell Spin or Vinyl Darar, because, the song wouldn't have been what it is without them. It just means a lot, and I'm glad, I'm thankful Ponies at Dawn, had me on an album. Hopefully more in the future, but if not, at least I, got to be there once. Yeah, so there were a lot of just big events that happened for me in 2025. Whew, okay, so for 2026, cons, I want to go to more cons. I want to try to make it to some ones I haven't been before. Can't speak too early on that. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, I do have a big project coming up next year. I say big project. It's, it's an album. I want to get an album out. I don't want to speak too much on it, because I don't want to make promises I can't keep. But hopefully it'll be really good. I hope people like it. That's the only thing I can think of like planned right now for 2026. Because once the album's out, it's just about a matter of uploading them with videos. And so overall, 2025, even though like it was kind of like a normal year in terms of my life, I made a lot more new friends, like Asher Comet, for example, another name that performed this year for the first time. Go check out their stuff as well. And just big events as well, like Neighhem and Ponies at Dawn. It's just, I'm just very grateful. And it's all thanks to everyone's support. Honestly, it's like, I wouldn't be here without all of you. This got really sentimental in this video. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, thank you all for watching this, and I hope to see you around. I'll look out for more from the channel, because I do plan on, even though I didn't upload much this year, that will hopefully change then 2026 with new content incoming. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next year. G5, because that's like kind of the vibe of the song here. Oh my god, my pop filter just, my pop filter just fell off of my mic. What just happened?